You know what, guys? It's Mattview Reviews. Hello everyone, Mattview Reviews here, and today we'll be having a look at Smurfs, The Lost Village, which is directed by Kelly Asbury and is the latest film from Sony Pictures Animation of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania fame. Now, I've never had a huge bond with the Smurfs TV show, but I knew of it and got the gist of it as a kid when watching like Boomerang or old Cartoon Network. It was what it was, but it was always a beacon of 80s nostalgia. So, with this finally being a fully animated feature film rather than the half live-action, half CGI mess that was the first two Smurfs films by Sony, how did this one fare? Well, let's break the film down to our 5 main categories of animation success, starting with the characters. So, in terms of characters, you have all the classic Smurfs from the show. You have Brainy Smurf, Papa Smurf, Hefty Smurf, Clumsy Smurf, and of course, Smurfette. Each of the Smurfs are, of course, their assigned stereotype. Clumsy is clumsy, Jokey pulls up pranks, hence he's jokey, and Nosy is nosy. They are, for the most part, one-note stereotype characters. However, at times you actually see more of a range of their emotions, and they expand past their stereotype, mostly from the main cast. They are much more rounded in this film than I expected, and I liked it a lot when their characters were expanded upon rather than just their one note. But I like that there was some evolution for the Smurfs as a whole. For example, I really like Hefty as Smurf in this film. I was very concerned he was going to be just the stereotypical jock, but he actually shows a lot of care for Smurfette, and is always wanting to help her and be nice to her. It is really nice to see. Speaking of which, Smurfette is our main protagonist, and she's really trying to find her place in the village, as each Smurf has their purpose. She is very likable in this film, and it is nice to see her story come full circle in the end. Also, this isn't exactly a spoiler, but once they reach the Lost Village full of female Smurfs, I absolutely adored Smurf Blossom. She was so energetic and just overall adorable as all heck. And the villains themselves, like Azrael, Monty, and Gargamel, were very goofy and just really fun on screen. Especially Azrael. That cat was just too much fun to watch. But just to close out the pros, like I said, the Smurfs do not overdo the stereotypes and get annoying like I feared. At least most of the time. There's a very clear shift where it's like, okay, Brainy has to go back to being annoying and know-it-all like he was in the show. And it's like, wait, when did this come? Like, he was fine and tolerable a second ago. Where did this come? No, he's gonna be annoying now. Remember the show? And it's like, okay. And then later on, it's like, okay, now he's gonna be a little more round. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Back to this. It's like, okay, back to annoying. I'm like, what the fuck? It really doesn't make sense, but there's very clear shift. Like, legitimately, he didn't start out as this, and nor did he need to be over the top. He was so over the top out of nowhere, and it was not necessary whatsoever. There are a lot of very random shifts where the Smurfs start to evolve and expand a little past their roles, but then they go straight back to being nothing but their role. The film can't decide which route to go, and it's extremely annoying, and it's hindering the film as a whole. Now, let's talk about the voice acting for the Smurfs. Every voice actor for the Smurfs really fits. Jack McBrayer fits perfect for Clumsy, Demi Lovato is a good Smurfette, Danny Pudi is a really good Brainy, and Joe Manganiello plays a good Hefty. Also, the village of female Smurfs have great voice actors as well. Ellie Kemper is so perfect as the high-strung Smurf Blossom, like I said, super adorable. Michelle Rodriguez is a badass as Smurf Storm, and Julia Roberts is a perfect leader character as Smurf Willow. The only negative is that Rainn Wilson he's fine as Gargamel, but all I hear is Rainn Wilson. Like, he has a known voice. Like Jack McBrayer, for example, he has a voice that stands out, and like I know his voice, but at least his fits his character. You know what I mean? A lot of Rainn Wilson's lines are just more of how I feel he would say things and react to things rather than how I would expect Gargamel to do so. All I heard throughout this entire film was just the villain from Monsters vs. Aliens. That's all I heard this entire time. I feel like Rainn was just... there wasn't much thought in this casting. They just wanted a goofy guy to play a goofy villain and not someone that can recreate the feel of the original Gargamel and maybe add a fun spin to it. It was just... I really just think it was miscasting. I don't think he fit well as Gargamel, in my opinion at least. Now, let's talk about the story. So, the basic plot is that Smurfette is trying to find her place in the village and doesn't know what her purpose is, as she is not a real Smurf, but a fake one Gargamel created in order to trick the Smurfs, which backfired, and hence she became part of the village. One day, while trying to escape Gargamel, they find out that Gargamel is actually on the hunt for a lost village of Smurfs in the Forbidden Forest. Smurfette, Brainy, Hefty, and Clumsy all sneak out in order to find the lost village and save them from Gargamel. So, the good of the story is that it has a lot of cutesy humor, which I can certainly appreciate. But the rest of the story is pretty basic and not too thrilling. It feels much like an extended episode of the show more than a film on a grander scale. That's not a bad thing, just not exactly a good thing. Now, on the bad side, there is a severe issue with tone shifts. At the beginning, like I said, the Smurfs were all more well-rounded. There was some nice fantasy-esque music, and the film was very promising. Then all of a sudden, it's like a studio head came in every once in a while during production and changed the entire feel of the film. Or at least just the parts he saw. Like, he came in one day and he was just like, okay, hey, no, change that. Okay, no, but change that. Okay, I'm gonna go for a couple weeks. And then he come back through and say, oh, you're working on this scene? Okay, change that. Okay, change that. It was very off-putting. Like, he threw in pop music, made the characters one note again, and really annoying, and just derailed the flow of what they had going on. And it's very sporadic. It is honestly like they had two different cuts of the film, and someone slapped the two with random bits to form a film. There's one giant cut of the film where there's a version of the film out there where all the Smurfs are one note. There's a lot of pop music and there's a lot of pop culture references. On the other side, there's a much more well-rounded Smurf kind. There's much more fantasy-esque elements, and it's a lot more entertaining. But no, someone was like, okay, take scene 23 from that, and take scene 24 from this one, put them together. Like, it was really weird. I really didn't know what they were doing. It was very, very just hastily put together, and just, it felt like two different films. Also, okay, so this is a spoiler for the film, so be forewarned, spoiler alert. At one point of the film, a character is believed to be dead. I won't give away too much spoilers just in case you still didn't click off in time, but still, the character is supposed to be dead. Now, I was the only one in that theater, but even the inanimate chairs in that theater knew for a fact that that character was definitely not permanently dead. There was no way. It was so painfully obvious. It felt so damn unnecessary. So many films just try and shoehorn in a fake death, and it is getting so annoying to see. Look, if it is done well, and it's a well-known character and their death feels meaningful, then you achieved your goal. And then if they miraculously come to life, you experience the highest of highs after the lowest of lows. I felt that as a kid. I thought SpongeBob and Patrick died in the SpongeBob SquarePants movies. I fucking cried. Screw all of you that didn't, okay? Anyway, point is, no one was falling for this death with the poor setup and the build that it had. So, it was just a major waste and a fail on the film's part. Next, let's look at the animation, which is actually probably the best part of the film. It was really cute, it was a great reflection of the style of the show, and it was upgraded to more of a 3D feel, and it was very crisp. The models were a perfect update, everything had a great texture to it. Whenever there's a close-up shot, you can see all these tiny details, whether it be skin, fur, or plant life. There's a lot of work and care put into these animations, and it really shows. Now, the one downside is that the pupils on the Smurfs can look very unnerving. Like, their faces and eyeballs will start to move, but the pupils will stay unnaturally still. It is really creepy, and you have to really see the film to know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, if you actually go see it, watch their pupils just stay still and kind of move, and kind of don't move as their entire body starts to move anyway. It's very, very odd. Finally, let's have a look at the music. As I said earlier, when the film wants, it has a very adventurous fantasy score. It is a lot of fun to listen to up until the pop music pops up. It is so unnecessary to just throw in a Meghan Trainor song when we were just listening to this really good score to get us in the mood for an adventure. It really ruins the moment to have such a dramatic shift. Look, it worked in Trolls only because all the songs were pop songs. Also, they fucking put I'm Blue in this film. Fuck you, Sony. Did you really have to stoop to that pathetic level? You just couldn't help yourself, could you? I hate your film department so bad sometimes, Sony. Stick to fucking video games and quit making shitty films. Anyway, in conclusion though, at times, Smurfs Lost Village can be a really fun throwback to the original show. While others, it feels like it doesn't know which film it wants to be. Thankfully, there's just a smidge more fun in this film that makes it an okay watch one time around. That's why I'm going to give Smurfs The Lost Village a 3 out of 5. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I really apologize for how late it is. I've been really busy with school, but to make up for it, I will be releasing a video next week, rather than 2 weeks. So, and because there are no current feature films in theaters, it'll be a mystery, unless you guys want to put something in the comments below, because I'm recording this Thursday, so you can say, hey, do this, and I'll watch it real quick over the weekend, and I'll make a review real quick, alright? And also, I'm hoping to make up for it again. For the week after, I will be making a top 10 favorite animated films of all time. It's very weird that I haven't done this already, but I'm going to be giving you guys a list of my top 10 favorite films in animation. No particular order, except for number 1. Number 1 is pretty clear, but we'll get to that when we get there. But like I said, any suggestions at all for reviews, let me know, because the summer will be chock full of reviews, and I will have a lot of time gaps in between feature-length films. So, let me know what you guys think. But until next time, guys, if it's not your birthday today, have a very merry on the birthday, and I will see you guys next time. Blah!